Sir Keir Starmer has already talked about how the UK and its own military forces are now involved in this entire military operation against Iran. In fact, in that joint letter that's been issued not just by the United Kingdom, but also along with France and Germany, these three countries have united. They have sent out an appeal to Iran to give up its nuclear program and to stop targeting civilians. If European voices are now joining in the US military operation, the Israeli military operation Aman, this certainly could mean a very, very tedious, tumultuous scenario, not at the risk of, warmongering. This could very well be the worst nightmare coming true, that is of a World War III situation.
Well, absolutely, Akanksha. I think that possibility cannot be ruled out at all now. Given the kind of strikes which are happening, and the latest we have, in fact, from the Israeli military, and I read out that statement which has come, that Israeli military says it has launched another wave of strikes against Iran's ballistic missile and air defense systems. So the counter-strike by Israel is still on Iran, and is launching a second wave of strikes. The Israeli military is saying against Iran's ballistic missile and air defense systems. Also, Iran's state agency, so we have heard about Mr. Trump saying that Khamenei has been killed. What the Iran state-linked Fars news agency, Akanksha, is now reporting is that several family members of Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei have also been killed. This includes his daughter, his son-in-law, his grandchild, and his daughter-in-law. So not just Khamenei, perhaps his entire family has been killed in the US-Israel joint operation which was carried out yesterday. That is what Iran's state-linked agency is also saying. And clearly, US Defense Secretary's statement earlier saying that a massive US-Israeli strike on Iran, Washington says it killed the country's supreme leader, and it shows that those who harm Americans must pay a price. So these are the big updates which are coming, that Israel is now launching another wave of strikes on Iran's ballistic systems and its air defense systems to neutralize whatever is left of Iran's offensive capabilities. And also this news coming in that not just Khamenei, maybe his entire family, much of his entire family has been wiped out in this massive attack that has been carried out on his residential compound yesterday by the US and Israel together. So these are the big updates which are coming. Of course, a concerning situation, and what you are saying, Akanksha, about this quickly snowballing into a World War III,
right.
Well, looks much more possibility by the time, with the minutes going by, than the developments which are happening.
In fact, as we speak, we all know that the Canadian Prime Minister, along with the Canadian delegation, are very much in India. And we are getting in a statement from Canada's Foreign Minister, Anita Anand, who sent out an open letter of condemnation on these strikes against Iran. She's saying that Canada stands with the Iranian people. We strongly condemn the attacks of the Iranian regime against our partners in the Middle East, is also what she's gone on to say. These attacks must stop. We will continue to provide all possible support to Canadians throughout the region. Over the course of the past 18 hours while in India, I have spoken with my G7 counterparts regarding the evolving Iran-related hostilities in the Middle East. I have also been in touch with foreign ministers of several countries, including Israel, Qatar, UAE, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Armenia, and Azerbaijan. Quickly over to Sanjay, as he's also back on the broadcast. Sanjay, you were covering the G7, and if Canada is also now reaching out to the G7 nations, do you think the global community will be able to usher in diplomacy and urge for peace at the moment, given that a very whimsical president like Donald Trump already has declared that there will be continuous bombardment in Iran for the coming week?
Well, when you say whimsical, you are clearly in a very gentle mood, Akanksha. This is a president who decides that the world should be the way he wants it to be. We see evidence of that again and again, and this is the latest round of that expression. It's almost certain that no level of pleas expressed diplomatically, whether from India or from Canada or from any other country, or Britain even, which doesn't just have diplomatic relations with the US, it almost has umbilical ties with the US. Even they will not be able to try and stop it, not that they are particularly trying to do so. So this is a momentum. It has a military logic of its own now. Given that the attack has been launched after many weeks of preparation and putting forces in place. It's very unlikely that Rubio and Trump will now have a few conversations with a few ministers and say, let's call it all off. That's not on. They're going to carry on with this, and the decision to stop this will come only if there is capitulation within Iran. That is not looking likely. Or that said, there are clear signs of unease, to put it mildly, and chaos within Iran. Just a few minutes back, we were hearing that Iranian media is putting out reports that it's not true that Khamenei has been killed. Now the same kind of media is saying it's not just Khamenei, it's his whole family that's been killed. So there is a degree of desperation about trying to issue denials of what happened, really trying to deny to themselves what has happened. It's not clear that there is a very clear substitution or leadership in place to take a view that the Iranian government can hold on to, that it is really in charge of. There is chaos, as there would be. Given this weakness, and given that this is the prime aim, this is what the first item on the American and Israeli wish list would be, that they would strike at the top, sow chaos, and then induce and provoke a crack up from within. They're on to that now. They're not going to let go.